Good morning. This is Pedro Vega. Welcome to our Cardinal Senior Benefits Morning Pursuit Call. Here at Cardinal, we promote peace of mind, we begin again, and we pursue excellence. We do that a bunch of different ways, mainly by controlling what we can control with our effort and by being intentional with our attitude. We do our best to choose and cultivate a positive attitude of service and perspective. We know that whoever's thinking biggest picture tends to win, right? And perspective and service is tied together. We know that it's hard to be nervous if our heart's on service. And it's not about us. It's not for us to know the order of the outcome. It's for us to do our best, right? To focus on doing the next right thing right. Staying focused on what we can control, right? Putting as much of our mental and emotional energy into our controllables. And here, Cardinal, it's very simple. We have our 3 out of 4 system, 35 hours. Okay. And that's quality hours, right? That's either with Miss Jones or directly on the way to see Miss Jones, right? So having a sense of urgency, scratching off as many leads as we can, right? 35 hours, 45 door knocks, right? And these are not random doors. We want to knock on all the doors of the leads that we can. We're trying to get as many yes or no's to our face by the end of the week. And then 12 presentations. Obviously, we're trying to sit down with as many people as we can, 12 plus presentations, and then 4,000 in annual premium. 4 numbers, 3 out of those 4. We don't care which 3, right? But if we are surrendered, if we are committed to working until we hit at least 3 out of those 4 numbers, that takes the pressure off of us. Again, it's almost like the pressure of us trying to be God, right? It's the pressure of us trying to make things happen. It's not for us to know the order. And again, it takes the pressure off our clients because we know we know we're going to be fine. If we are surrendered up front to doing the work, no matter what order in which it happens, it's going to be good, right? The ball's going to bounce our way. And when we tell that client, hey, if it works for you, great. If not, no big deal. It's because we know the numbers work. We got so many numbers to back this up. It's funny. I was looking at the stats, refreshing the stats to start the call. Something like we've worked over 400,000 leads. It's pretty nuts to think that. And then almost 65,000 clients. So that's a blessing. It's a blessing to do that with you guys. A lot of new faces that we're going to be seeing actually at the awards banquet. We got our awards banquet coming here in less than 2 weeks. So that's going to be cool. Some new people are going to be there. And I know you're hearing some new names. Experienced folks are hearing that. So anyways, thanks for being on the call. Let's get to the numbers for this past week based on stats so far. And let's hear from one of our wonderful leaders, Mr. Robert Dikes, on another great week. All right, so let's see what we got here. Shout outs from the field. Let's see. All right, people on the board. Newer agents here. Let's see. Brooks Collins also gets some production out there. Eddie Gonzalez, 3,500. Landy, 3,500. Booker running ball, 3,600 last week, 14 sits. Buddy Law had right at 4,000. Miss Sonica Prabhu, 4,100. Sonic, I think I saw an RSVP there. That'll be exciting. Excited to have you at the meeting. Miss Brooke Peterson, 4,200 last week. Mr. Michael Vasquez, 4,500. Blake Parkins, 4,500, 5 on 12. Eric Nicholson, 4,600 on the week, 6 on 6. Janet Klein, 4,900 last week, 29 hours, 4 apps, 6 presentations. Mr. Taylor Hopper, 5,200 last week, 34 hours, 26 appointments, 39 door knocks at 7 apps on 9. We got Mr. Michael Del Rey, 5,200. He's going to be at the meeting. Michael, excited to see you there. Excited to meet you in person. 40 hours, 22 door knocks, 18 presentations, 5 apps on 18. I love it. Great job. Mr. Courtney Hunt, let's see, I think that's 12 on the week. 5,400, 38 hours, 16 presentations, 8 apps on 16. Mr. Joshua Reynolds, 5,484 last week, 7 on 7. Kevin McCoy, 5,500, 39 hours, 4 apps on 10 presentations. Kevin's, I think, wrapping up his second month. Great job. Miss Amber Lewis, I think this is their second week, 5,600 last week, 38 hours, 36 door knocks, 12 presentations, 9 apps on 12. So she hit her 3 out of 4. Great job, Amber. I'm hearing really good things. Jenna's been saying that you've been calling a lot, being very coachable, hungry to learn. It's all looking really good on our end. So keep that activity up. Again, in the beginning, guys, it's a race to your first 150 presentations. It's just about exposure. It's about practice. Then 450 presentations. Then get excited about 2,000 presentations. There's no shortcuts to intangible skills. So we're going to need all of it, right? Inconvenience, discomfort, annoyed people, unhappy. Just all of it, right? That all develops our reflexes. It's all about exposure. So great job, Miss Lewis. Let's see. We got Zach Wright, 5,700 last week, 6 apps on 17, number 8 on the week. Mr. Dikes, he'll be sharing here in a bit. Number 7 on the week, 8,500. We'll circle back. Mr. Anthony Price, you're hearing his name more and more often. 9,700 again. Anthony, I'm so excited for you, man. Anthony AP Price, 43 hours, 23 apps on 28 presentations, 40 appointments. Man, and I'm not rattling out as much of the appointments. We have the setters doing that, but it's changed the game. Changed the game. Shout out to Anna Cassell and the whole appointment setting team. It's really, really cool. Miss Gina Francis, number 5 on the week last week, 10,145, 7 on 7, 35 door knocks. Mr. Bradley Wenger, new to Cardinal I think this is his 5th week. He might be sharing tomorrow, 10,877 on the week. Best week yet, 72 leads, 38 hours. Looks like he just did it a lot on the door. 59 door knocks, 14 presentations, 8 on 14. He does have a door knocking background. I think he really leaned on that, and it worked very well. So great job, Bradley. Man, proud of you. Number 3, Mr. Trevor Gritton with a hair under 12,000, 11,988 on the day, 41 hours, 35 door knocks, 13 appointments, 4 applications on 9 presentations. Excellent job. Number 2, Nate the Great Alberts with 15,372 in annual premium, 153 leads, 29 hours, 31 appointments, 12 door knocks, had 17 applications on 20 presentations, closing a cool 85%. Wonderful job. And then number 1, King of the Hill, doing it on the phones, Mr. Carl Norton. Carl is he's been here a couple years now. He's just done it on the floor. He's got a unique lead situation that he's really capitalized on, done a great job. 15,414 in annual premium, 25 hours, had 12 apps on 13 presentations. He's been extremely consistent, silently one of the most consistent agents we've had. So Carl, great job if you're out there listening. All right, so man, you guys are kicking off the year in style. I love it. Let's get to our speaker, Mr. Robert Dikes. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Can you hear us?
Good morning, Pedro. What are we doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Doing great. Anytime I hear Robert Dikes' voice, it also makes me feel great. This guy's just been just a great story from the beginning. Come in hungry, young, with the desire to succeed. I think a little over 2 years now. Cardinal, maybe he's approaching that in March. And he came in with just great work ethic from the very beginning. He's been through all kinds of transition with us. He was here when we were working these Google digital leads, and we had a rough time on. He tested a telesales thing. He was actually, I think, the original person to work the yes leads as we were figuring out all kinds of stuff. And he's just done great. His first 10 months, he did 174,000 in premium. And then this past year, just skyrocketed. It's over 326,000 in 2025, and he's off to a beautiful start as well. So, Dikes, just really grateful for you, man. Excited to have you this morning. Let's dig into your week. 8,500, 32 hours, 21 appointments, 76 door knocks, had 9 apps on 13 presentations. So, yeah, man, little things added up, things made a difference. Anything to help you have a $8,500 week, we'd appreciate it. The floor is yours.
Yeah, most definitely. This week was most recent week was definitely a real grinder. Met a lot of really cool families and been able to put people in better spots. I would say that most of my premium came from replacements. Came from seeing people's situation and whatever they were in. I was able to get them in a much better spot. Some of them were also people like existing clients that I've had on the books for a while. They told me that they wanted, maybe more insurance, and I was just able to get them a much bigger policy. For example, I had this one lady that I had as a client from, I think, 2024, 2025, and she was actually from where I used to live at before in the Rio Grande Valley. And she reached out to me because her budget was a little bit larger for life insurance, and I had a policy for her. I think it was with Transamerica, and she said that she had about $50-$60 more that she can spend on life insurance. So I ended up getting her about another 15,000 with I think it was with Royal Neighbors, and that was simply just from her reaching out to me, being my existing client. And I think you'll notice, the more that you be in this business, if you stay in contact with your people, if you're staying in front of them, then you'll have a much higher chance of getting those referrals, getting people to reach out to you when they actually want more life insurance. And I had a couple other situations here. I always take photos with my families. I've got like 8 or 9 photos from this week.
I wonder when you started doing that. I think it was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months in. So do you post that to your Facebook, or how do you utilize those photos?
So whenever I take a photo, like when I'm closing up the sale, I'll just take a photo with my new client, and then I'll normally just send the photo to them of me and them. That way, well, of course, before I do that, I'll save my number on their phone, and then I'll save the photo. Well, I'll send them the photo, and that way, when I'm calling them or when I'm texting them, that photo that we took together, that'll be one of the first things that they'll see on their phone. And I think that's a good personal touch because, if you just call somebody after a sale or maybe 6 to 12 months after a sale and they don't really have a photo of you guys together, then they might not remember, the interaction or something like that. So I think taking a photo is definitely a really good personal touch that you can do with people.
Obviously with the chargeback reducer, we tell them, hopefully people are solidifying at the end of the sale saying, hey, I'm gonna send you a gift card within the next 5 to 6 days. You pop that in the chargeback reducer. They actually get that little thank you card. So that's a cycle of saying you're going to do something and then actually doing it. That's like a deposit into that relationship. Every relationship has like a emotional bank account, if you will. And every time you say you're going to do something, actually do it, that's a deposit. So that balance is growing. The relationship is growing. And every time you say you're going to do something, and you don't do it, right? That's a withdrawal from that relational bank account. And if you do that too much, you're going to hit that overdraft fee, right? Insufficient funds. We see that in our business. That's why we made the chargeback reducer. Obviously, they get payment text reminders every month for the first 6 months. And when they get those text messages, a lot of our clients will call back to that text message, and it goes to a US-based speaker that will affirm or validate all the details on that policy that you entered on the front end, right? If it was a $15,000 policy, $64 payment, with American Amicable on the 3rd day of the month, all that stuff, right? So anyways, little plug there for the chargeback reducer. But you taking that picture, right, and then calling them, which that, by the way, guys, that's another little elite level producer thing. And at least I know Lucas Holland did it for a while. Nate might do it still. Just calling, literally just calling the next week, so that they just be like, hey, Miss Betty, how are you doing today? Good. Okay. Well, I'm just heading out to my appointments. Want to let you know everything looks good on my end. Your policy's issued. So, you should be getting that in the next couple of weeks. Shoot me a text message. And even if they don't answer, just leaving a voicemail. It's just that it kind of edges that insecurity of, man, am I ever going to hear from this person again? But Geikus, on your level, they also see your picture. So it's almost like a digital thank you card. They're seeing your picture in a good memory with them, which is, I think, a nice touch. So that's really cool, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, and a specific situation that I want to touch up on was this lady. Her name's Alice, and it was real cool because I met with her. She had this real cool little purple outfit on, like a purple bow on too. And I met her at the door. I sat inside with her. She was super, super nice. I was asking her about life insurance. She said that she had some policies before. Maybe she had those policies lapse. And she told me that she had a true stage policy that was for, 300,000. And so, once I hear 300,000 and anything over, 40, 50,000, I already start to get that kind of alert that it's potentially a universal policy, term, or an accidental. In this moment, I knew it was most likely an accidental policy. So I had her get out her policy with True Stage. She was paying $90 every 3 months for it, I believe, or I think every month. And so she pulls out her policy, and it's with True Stage. So she's over here thinking that it's, going to cover her in a natural cause. So she pulls out her policy. Turns out it's a True Stage 300,000 accidental policy. She's paying about $90 a month for it. And, I went over the details of the policy. I think this is really important for newer agents. If you come across somebody who has a policy, you want to make sure that you're getting their policy or you're on the phone with a company to verify the information. In this instance, she was able to get her policy out, and I was able to go over the facts. You want to talk about the facts of the policy? It was 300,000. She's paying, $90 a month, and she didn't know that it was only going to cover an accident. And you have to make sure that you're underlining that fact. This is great. Obviously, congratulate them that they have a policy. It's good that you have a policy in place for your family. I'm very happy that you value this for your family. But let me ask you, this is only going to cover you in an accident. Think that it would make sense for you to have something that would cover you in a natural cause. And, that's when you can hear the emotion side of it. And she's like, what? I didn't know that this would only cover in the event of an accident. And then she was more open to whole life and getting something in place for her family that would cover for natural causes. So that was actually a situation where I was able to get her about 20,000 with Sika for about 167. And she was very, very happy by the end of it, being able to get that in place for her family.
Heck yeah, man. And this is, I think, a good point to talk about just the process of how you're going to get more comfortable when you call the carriers. I feel like that's one of the more nerve-wracking parts about the job. Like in terms of the learning curve, I think a lot of agents are really nervous knocking on doors, knocking on the doors of the leads in the beginning. Yeah, and then the other like nerve-wracking part of the job, I think, is when they have a policy in the art of getting the details of what they have. Guys, this skill of just getting the company on the phone, quit. I mean, you just heard Dikes talk about it. You need to get the facts. That is 90% of replacements. Just dealing with a little bit of resistance, and that's really going to come from your conviction of the times when you will personally help people. New agents, you have to lean on our conviction for now. But there are going to be times where you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe how much I've improved this situation. So I will process their annoyance, their reluctance, their frustrations of not wanting to deal with me, and me having to be very confident, convicted, and assumptive so we can figure out what's going on. That's like a threshold you're gonna have to break through, because I mean there's 100,000 in premium on the other side of that skill, and most of it is just conviction and being assumptive about, hey, I don't mind helping you out. Let's figure out what's going on. I don't know when the last time someone gave you an annual review, or when's the last time you got an updated policy, an updated copy of your policy. I do this all the time. Let's go and give him a call real quick. And then assumptively, just get in the habit of assumptively pulling up the number. The script kind of gives you it's almost like language to kind of kill some time while you pull up the customer service number for their company and call them. Put them on speakerphone, let that awkward ringtone start sounding off, and let's get the facts. Sorry, I'm going on a little bit of a rant there, but the nuance of what he did there, okay, it ended up being accidental. Guys, they are not 100% accurate about what they have most of the time. They're wrong about what they have. They're wrong about what they think their policy is most of the time. Most of the time, they got it in the mail. They probably didn't even open it. They threw it in a drawer somewhere, and they're going off of think about it. We're going off of a senior's memory from sometimes a year ago, 5 months ago, 2 years ago, of what an agent told them. And we're assuming every single agent does their business like you do your business, right? The right way. And so don't compare apples to oranges. You want to make sure it's apples to apples, and you got to hear straight from the horse's mouth, which is calling the company. Sorry, a little PSA there on that. But I'm going to pause for a second, Dikes, and just talk about just your growth, because I'm looking at your numbers from your first year. And new agents, how would you like for your closing percentage to double? How would you like that? Because that's what Dikes did. His first 10 months, his closing percentage was right around 37%. And then in his second year, his work ethic has remained pretty steady, which that in of itself is fairly rare. That as people get better, their work ethic stays consistent. That's how you end up with an elite producer like Dikes. A lot of people, they get better, their work ethic drops. Okay. So So Dikes, his first 10 months, okay, he did 1,900 door knocks. He averaged 35 hours. He averaged 12 and a half sits, and he did around 4,100 in annual premium average, okay, in his first 10 months. His next year, okay, in his next year, his door knocks went from 45, averaging 45 to 57 door knocks. So his activity went up. Okay, 57 door knocks per week went up. Okay, his sit downs went up a little bit. So that's the other thing that's interesting. But his average annual premium was 7,100. So his average went from 4,100 to 7,100 in 1 year. Okay, door knocks did go up. His average door knocks, I mean, appointment setting went from around 15 to almost 17. So you got more appointments per week. And yeah, I mean, he went from 174,000 to 326,000 in annual premium. So if you don't mind just sharing a little bit about just your journey, your focus, and guys, Dikes is a young man, wise beyond his years. How old are you, Dikes? I forget.
I am 23 years old.
23 years old. 23 years old. So yeah, man, what's motivated you to stay consistent with your work ethic and actually ramp it up your second year as you got better?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. I think it goes back to your why and why you do things. Uh, Before I was a life insurance agent, I was a real estate agent, and I did that for right over a year. And that conversation that we had in the very beginning, Pedro, just very brutal. The sales cycle and the time that when you meet somebody, when you're finally helping them with an actual property is a long time. And the struggle with that was that I was not getting very many deals in real estate. I think I only got 2 deals, which was not going to allow me to survive very well. And, it's accepting that maybe that,
That was one whole year real estate or 18 months?
yeah, that was the whole year. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So it
Yeah.
told me you had the work ethic because I know you were out there trying to make it work.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But, sometimes you have to come to terms with reality and see, okay, this is maybe not working as much as I thought it would. And, you got to wake up and make a change. The only person who's going to change your life is you. Life was designed to respond to deserve, not to need. Just because I needed to make money, that doesn't mean that I was going to. You have to actually deserve it. So that's when I finally, we had that conversation. That's when I finally woke up to the realization that I need to do something else. And that's when I got into life insurance. And I knew in the very beginning that I wasn't going to be very good, that it was something I was going to have to work at if I was going to master my craft. And so that's exactly what I did. If I woke up, I got to work, and I, got to work a little earlier, stayed at work a little later, because I knew one simple philosophy that was, if you're starting anything new, you need to make up in numbers what you lack in skill. Make up in numbers what you lack in skill. So I was lacking the skill of being good in life insurance, so I needed to make it up in numbers. That means I'm working as hard as I can. I'm putting in those extra hours every day. I'm reaching out to people that can help me get better. Some people that have helped me get better since the very beginning to now have been, Nate and Joanna specifically have both helped me just go from kind of a decent producer to just being at the level that I'm at. So that was a really big thing that I had to understand, that I have to put those hours in, put those numbers in if I'm going to see the level of success that I wanted to. Another thing that was go ahead.
I'm sorry, you mentioned something about life is designed to deserve, not need, or do you mind elaborating that? I'm sure you read that recently or something.
Yeah, sure. It's by Jim Rohn. It's life was designed to respond to deserve and not to need. There's a lot of people that need things. There's a lot of people that need money, to survive, but that's just not how this world works. You have to provide a value for the marketplace.
In other words, what have you done to deserve what you want?
Right. Right. Another one is, if you really need to reap, then you really need to plant. Right? If you plant, you will reap. So in the beginning, I really needed to reap. So what was it that I needed to do? I needed to plant. I kept on planting, sowing, and sure enough, after enough time, I was able to get better at my craft. And I think in the very beginning, I was okay, and now I'm at the level that I'm at. But one thing that remained constant was my activity. And I think that's really important for people who are newer, maybe to getting more experienced. It's very important to understand that you have to keep your activity constant, because if you're on this cycle of, getting big deals, and then you take maybe the rest of the week off, or you get big deals and you think you can let off the gas a little bit, then chargebacks will tell you that you can't do that. Right. And so that was something that remained constant, is my business, is my activity. And yeah, that's how I've been able to get to my level right now. Just keep my activity constant. Got to pay the price. And I think something we talked about earlier, Pedro, on the call this morning, was that you have to understand that most of your business, if not a good amount of your business, will come from replacements. So when somebody tells you that they have a policy, you need to be confident about that. That's actually a good thing. If you have the understanding that most of our premium comes from replacing policies, and if somebody tells you they have a policy, instead of, getting down about it, which is what I did in the beginning because I didn't understand it, you have to gain confidence from that. You have to say, okay, you've got a policy. That's great. That makes my job even easier. Who are you with? I might have the same program as you. And that's when you get into the policy, see if you can help them, see if you can put them in a better situation. And for the people that are not very motivated, people that are not really open-minded, I've got another one. There's too many people that will to linger with those that don't. There's too many people that will to linger with those that won't. So, you're getting bad responses at the door. You're getting people slamming the door in your face. That is okay. Those were not the people that you're there for anyway.
Dude, I know you love Rohn. You've read a ton of Jim Rohn, and not only you haven't just read it, but I know that there's been I know there's times where you read something, you stopped, and you're like, man, that's good. I got to write it out, and you've internalized it. Once you've internalized it, it becomes your friend. You can call on your friend, and it's a great friend. A quote that you spend time on enough that it's your friend is just it's a treasure. And you shared many of those on these calls, so I appreciate you doing that. Man, there's so much more we could talk about, but I know we're literally at time, and that's that is when I have you on the call, man. So, I appreciate you, dude. You were already mature when I met you, but you've grown up so much since then. A married man now. I met him as a young bachelor. He's a married man now. Joanna got married recently, and it's a beautiful story. And dude, look forward to seeing you next week. I really am. We're gonna have some good time together.
It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to seeing you too, Pedro. Thanks for having me on the call this morning.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. There's in summary, okay. In summary, he talked about make up an effort where you temporarily lack in skill. Okay, his first year he averaged 45 door knocks. So think about the 3 out of 4. One of the 3 out of 4 is 45 door knocks. He averaged it. Okay, and then this next year. Okay, his average was 57 door knocks. Okay, so that's someone that's working with the vision. They are thinking big picture. Again, whoever's thinking biggest picture tends to win. They're not thinking about, well, let's see how it goes this week, see how it goes this month. They're thinking about 5 years from now, 10 years from now. If you want to build up, the higher you want to build, the more you got to build down. Okay, and right now, these work stats, these are the story that you're writing, right? It's the foundation you're building. And there's no shortcuts to intangible skills, right? They all add up. We serve better. We serve people better. That's one of my favorite words, right? Virtuosic, to cultivate a skill so well that that you serve others effortlessly by it. And Dike is on his way on that. All right, guys, we are over, but man, there was a bunch of people on the call, over 40 people. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for your time. I know Time is very important. Huge goals ahead, big day ahead. Remember, it takes all day to have a great day, all week to have a great week. Any given house can double or triple your week. It happens all the time. It might as well be you. So I challenge you right now, go ahead and surrender in advance to a certain amount of activity that no matter what, hell or high water, tornado, typhoon, earthquake, it's going to get done. Where you don't care about the order of the outcome. You care about the story. And the story at the end of the week is you're going to hit 3 out of those 4. You will have more peace. You're going to enjoy the people we talk to. And remember, the Lord will provide, especially if we cooperate. So you have a great day. God bless. Catch you guys tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.